How do we put the right message in front of the right people at the right time? That's the big question, and this podcast answers it. Welcome to Freaky Smart Marketing with David Olson. All right, welcome to another edition of Freaky Smart Marketing. Thanks for being with me today. So today we're talking about our unique selling proposition. So many times when I've worked with clients or a coaching client, I ask them, what is it that you do? How do you, tell me about it. What do you do? And almost always I get these responses of, I do, I do some of this and I do some of that. And it's complicated. And those are the type of answers I get when I'm talking to my clients. So one of the very first things we need to do in order to craft an effective sales funnel, something that you can rely on that will bring in leads into your business, that will allow you to have predictable sales, is you need to define your messaging. You need to define what it is you actually do. Now, what you spend your time doing during the day is not necessarily what you're selling. And that's an important distinction to make, because so often we get confused with what we think we do with what we're actually selling. And that becomes a problem. So what we're going to talk about is a unique selling proposition in today's episode. So a unique selling proposition really has 4 elements. To be effective. Now, it doesn't always have to have all 4 of these elements, but it is nice to have. Now, initially, when you create your unique selling proposition, a lot of people think of unique selling propositions as like slogans. And that is true. They are slogans, but they evolve over time. As your company or your product or service gains experience and gains market share, and people know your brand, that unique selling proposition can shrink down into something smaller. But initially, as you're going out there and you don't have a lot of money for branding, so you can't put that out in front of everyone. I mean, think about FedEx. FedEx's unique selling proposition is when it absolutely has to be there overnight. That's FedEx. But people don't realize that anymore, because now they just say, we'll just FedEx it. Over time, it has evolved and it's shrunk down into this smaller form because FedEx is so well known. Take Xerox, for example. Xerox has become so well known, or Google. Now we just say, why don't you Xerox that? Or which everyone knows when you say, Xerox that means to copy it, to do a copy. But it's become so common that we just use that word and it's become a verb. Same with Google. Google, the search engine, when it first came out, people didn't quite understand what it was. Now people say, go Google that. And they know that means to go search for something. So those are the cases, extreme examples of where unique selling propositions have become actual verbs, like Xerox and Google it. But for our intents and purposes, and for most small businesses, we don't have that brand recognition. When we don't have millions of dollars to spend on branding either, we need to make sure that every dollar we put into our marketing, we get X dollars out. We get $3 out or $5 back, that each dollar has a return on investment. So it's critical that we make our unique selling propositions very succinct, very, very accurate and concise until it is exactly what we're doing. So an effective unique selling proposition has 4 basic elements. Number 1, it's your target audience. So you need to call out your target audience. Number 2, it's your audience's big desire or the big end result that they're wanting. Number 3, it's once again, your target audience's big frustration or pain point that they want to avoid. We will do almost anything. The 2 big psychological factors when we get people motivated to buy is pain avoidance and going towards pleasure and gaining pleasure. Those two big points. So we want to point out their big frustration or pain point that they want to avoid. And then number 4, a time frame they can expect results in if they have your product or service. Now, like I said, you don't have to have each one of these elements, but we can try to fit it in. And so that might make it 1 or 2 sentences in length, but that's okay if we can accurately and concisely tell people what it is exactly that we do and our unique selling proposition, what makes us unique from the competition with our USP. So once again, those 4 elements is your target audience, their big desire or end result, their big frustration or pain point that they want to avoid, and a time frame they can expect to see results. So here are some questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions we're going to go through that kind of help us nail down these elements. And so if you have a piece of paper, take it out. If you're listening to this while you're driving, don't try to write while you're driving. Just go back when you have time at home and listen to these questions and try to work through this process. Now, I came up with this. I didn't come up with it myself. These are great questions that I got from Jim Edwards over at Funnel Scripts, and I'll have a link to Funnel Scripts in the show notes so that you can get that. But they really make this process easy and simple, and they also come from Russell Brunson and his Expert Secrets. So let's go to our questions. Number 1, who are you going to help or teach or coach? So this is usually a plural answer. So you would answer this by saying, well, I'm going to teach blank space. People who want to lose weight. I'm going to teach real estate investors. I'm going to teach mommy bloggers. I'm going to teach people who sell on eBay. I'm going to teach small business owners. So you get the idea. That's kind of the sentence you want to form. So on your scratch piece of paper, I'd write down, I'm going to teach, and then name your target audience. And it's usually a plural, like mommy bloggers, not just a mommy blogger, but bloggers. Okay, question number 2. What is the big result that they desire most in their market niche? So that's the question. So now you want to write down on your scratch piece of paper, my audience really wants to, and now this will usually start with a verb, create a 7-figure home business, or make $30,000 a month flipping houses on eBay, or naturally treat dandruff without negative side effects, or my audience really wants to learn how to make $1 million a month flipping houses on eBay. I don't know what it may be, but that's how you want to write this down. What is it that your audience really wants to do? Now let's go to question number 3, which is, what is one more big result that they desire most in this area? So this is a second thing. What's the second thing they really want to achieve? So my audience also really wants to achieve, write this down, wants to earn extra money from home, or how to make easy money in real estate, or burn fat without exercising, or lose weight without having to eat like a rabbit. Go through and think about it. Now, each one of these questions, why I'm going through this relatively quickly, and I have this video of it that you can reference. You want to take time. You really want to think about these questions as you're going through them. And most importantly, I've talked about it before, but one of the most important skills that you can learn to have is to have empathy for your target audience. Try to walk a mile in their shoes and put yourself in their situation, in their shoes, and say, okay, what is it that my audience really wants? And really try to think about it from their perspective. That will make all the difference in the world for you and your business. Okay, question number 4. What's the number one big thing they are most afraid of? So here's the question to write down. My audience is really scared of, giving up their favorite comfort foods, or borrowing money with bad credit, or missing quality family time. What is it that your audience is really scared of? Now, this is a word, it's usually a verb, like missing or borrowing or giving up, something that ends in ing. Now, the fifth question. What's one more big thing they are most afraid of in this area? So here's the question, write down. My audience also is really scared of, being overwhelmed by tech decisions or only eating rabbit food, having chaos in the home, having to work long hours. I don't know what it is for your audience, but this is once again, this is a secondary thing. What is it they're also really scared of? And then the last question number 6, is what time frame can you help them get results? So here's the question. You'll start seeing results instantly, in 30 days, in a single weekend, 12 weeks, whatever it is. Try to pick a time frame. If they have your product or service, when will they start to see results? Now, psychologically, people like to have a goal, and they like to see the end. They like to see where that's going to end up. So by setting a time frame, you're giving them a clear path from point A to point B. So if you start right now, you're going to see results in 30 days or in a weekend or in 3 or 4 hours or whatever it may be. You're creating that path from point A to point B. So now let's look at a little bit of an example that I've set up. Now this is kind of corny, but that's okay. We're just going to walk through this. Now, for those of you who don't know, who are just listening on audio, I also have a video version of this where I'm walking through this mind map for you. So if I'm leaving out details, I apologize. So in this example, here we are. People you are going to teach. Okay, here's the people who I'm going to teach in the example. People who want to lose weight for summer. All right. The number one result they really want, they want to lose 30 pounds without exercising. Number 2 result they really want, so this is a secondary result, they want to look great in a bathing suit. Of course they do. Number 1, the thing they fear the most, well, giving up their favorite foods. Number 2, the thing they fear the most. So this is a secondary thing they fear the most, only eating rabbit food. So the time frame, 30 days or less. So now I'm going to complete this. So these are my notes. So people who want to lose weight for summer, lose 30 pounds without exercising, look great in a bathing suit, giving up their favorite foods, only eating rabbit food, and in 30 days or less. So those are my notes that I have written down on my scratch piece of paper because I've answered all 6 of these questions. Now I'm going to take those and I'm going to mix and match them. I'm going to put these together into a single statement. It might be 1 sentence. It might be 2 sentences. It's kind of like a who, what statement. Who it is that we teach and what we do. So here's 2 examples, and I'm just throwing together with these notes. Now you can take them and you can play with them and mix and match them in any way you want. Come up with 10 different variations of it, and then just practice it, whittle it down to see which ones you like the most. So here it is. Number 1, I coach people who want to lose weight for summer on how to lose 30 pounds without exercising in 30 days or less without giving up their favorite foods. So how would I use this statement? Well, let's say I get on an elevator and I'm there, this classic elevator pitch right here. I get on an elevator and I'm in a hotel and the guy next to me turns and says, hey, are you here for the business conference? Yes, I am. Well, what is it that you do? Well, let me tell you. I coach people who want to lose weight for summer on how to lose 30 pounds without exercising in 30 days or less without giving up their favorite foods. Boom. I just told them exactly what it is I do. Okay, now here's a second version of it. Here's another example. I've taken the same wording from those 6 questions and I've made a different statement. So here it is. I help people who want to lose weight for summer to lose 30 pounds and look great in a bathing suit in 30 days or less without giving up their favorite foods or eating rabbit food the rest of their lives. So now I have 2 versions of it. I can go on and I can create a whole bunch more. Now I recommend that you go home or whenever you have the chance, go back to these 6 questions. Who are you going to help, teach, or coach? What is the number one big result they desire most in their niche? What is one more or a second big result they desire in this area? Number two, or here we move on to question number 4. What's the number one big thing that they are afraid of or they fear in their niche? And what's now number 5? What's the second big thing they're afraid of in this area? And then number 6, what time frame can they expect to start seeing results? So remember, these questions are all based on your prospect from their perspective, not from yours, but from theirs. Write those answers to those questions and then go and mix and match them and come up with several different variations of what your unique selling proposition is going to be. So that when someone asks you, say, well, what is it you do? And then you can simply say, oh, I help people who want to lose weight for summer to lose 30 pounds and look great in a bathing suit in 30 days or less, and they don't even have to give up their favorite foods, or they don't even have to eat rabbit food for the rest of their lives. Something like that. So you can just become second nature, and you can tell people exactly who you serve, how you serve them, their big end result, how they avoid the things that they fear most, and in a time frame. So that's really it. That's how you create a unique selling proposition. There's really not that much to it. It's just those 6 questions. Now, the hard part is when you have to sit down and really empathize with your target audience and really try to look at it from their perspective. So when you understand what it is that they really want and the things that they're really trying to avoid, and when you can do that, then you're going to come up with a really winner, a fantastic, unique selling proposition, and people will understand immediately what it is that you do. Thank you so much for listening to Freaky Smart Marketing today. For all the show notes and resources mentioned in this episode, go to freakysmartmarketing.com/podcast to see the latest episodes. Also, please leave us your feedback on what I can do better. Do you have questions about marketing or sales? Send me your questions and I'll answer them on the show. Hey, we'll see you next episode. Have a great week, my friends.